Hello, and welcome to Mason Arts at Home Black Voices Screening, a storytelling and movement initiative based on lived experiences of students from Mason School of Dance. This screening is a culmination of a semester of work showcasing movement pieces by Brianna Dawkins, Olivia McCall, and Carmella Taitt. My name is Satara Kennedy. I am the Assistant Director for the Arts Management Program and Adjunct Faculty for the School of Dance at George Mason University. And for this project, I served as a faculty mentor. Now, before we get started, a note for those of you who are joining via our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Once we've premiered all three pieces, there will be time at the end for a Q&A. So throughout the event, please do feel free to drop any comments or questions that you have in your respective comment boxes. With that said, it is my pleasure to introduce Artistic Director of Sankofa Danzafro, Rafael Palacios, and Monica Delgado, who will be supporting this evening's discussion in translation. Hi, Rafael. Hi, Monica.
Good evening.
Thank you both for joining us this evening. So before we get to premiering all three pieces, Rafael, I'd love if you could give us some background about the Black Voices Project, how it was created, and what was your inspiration behind the creative process.
Antes de iniciar y presentar las obras de esta noche, Rafael, ¿podrías compartir con nosotros cómo inició el proyecto de Black Voices y cómo llegó acá?
Sí, claro que sí. Lo primero que quiero decir es que estoy muy feliz de poder presentar esta noche el trabajo que hicimos con estas tres grandes bailarinas.
First, I'd like to start by saying that I am very happy to be here and to be able to share with you the work and the pieces that we created together with these three dancers.
En medio de la pandemia, para mí era muy importante poder mantener a la compañía Sankofa y a la familia extendida Wangari y Semillero unidos. Estábamos en un aislamiento cada uno en sus casas, pero poder seguir construyendo una manera de tener un sentido de pertenencia a través de la danza.
During the pandemic, I was trying to find a way to stay united, to be together. Sankofa, the dancers, also two other companies that we work with, we were all isolated at home in each of our homes. And I was trying to find a way to make sure that we could all still feel like we belong together.
Entonces les pedí que nos enviáramos por WhatsApp cartas, historias personales silenciadas que quisiéramos compartir entre nosotros mismos.
So I asked everyone to share letters through WhatsApp where they could tell their stories, their experiences, things that they felt they have been silenced for.
Y luego la alcaldía de Medellín sacó una convocatoria para creación virtual. Entonces propuse que esas cartas se convirtieran en escritura a través del cuerpo, una escritura danzada, y que esas historias fueran una forma de no silenciarnos en medio de la situación que estamos viviendo todavía.
Shortly after, the city government in Medellín, where we are located, put out this invitation for creative works online. And I thought maybe we could translate those letters into movement. So I asked each of the dancers who had written a letter to work on it and see if they could take that written word and translate it into their bodies.
Y es así como entonces salieron 26 videos, incluso el mío también, y pudimos presentarlo en Colombia. Luego este ejercicio también se hizo en Boston y hoy felizmente con ustedes en Virginia.
So this is how we ended up with 26 videos, including my own, that were presented here in Colombia, in our city. And then eventually the project traveled to Boston, and now we are here with you.
And we're so glad that we had this opportunity to collaborate with you. And so on our end, in collaboration with the Center for the Arts and School of Dance, we put out a call for students to write their own letters as well. And we selected 3 students and had time frame wise, was it about 3 weeks from rehearsals to recording?
Sí,
And
más o
so,
menos fue ese
yeah.
fue el tiempo.
I wanted to know if you could give maybe just some insight on your experience collaborating with our dancers.
Aquí estamos muy emocionados de compartir esta experiencia contigo. Acá también un proceso muy similar. Se envió la convocatoria a los bailarines de la universidad, del departamento de danza. Escogimos a 3 de las que enviaron sus cartas. Y aquí estamos. Y ahora, Rafael, ¿podrías compartir algo de la experiencia de trabajar con nuestras 3 bailarinas?
Sí, para mí ha sido una experiencia muy importante como coreógrafo, como ser humano, poderme conectar con estas 3 mujeres que narran momentos históricos de su vida que han sabido enfrentar y sobre todo que han podido comunicar al resto del mundo a través de su propia danza.
It's an honor to have worked with these 3 amazing women who have found ways to tell their story, their history, their experiences through their word and their dance.
That's so awesome. Well, we are going to get started now. With that said, I'm excited for everyone to see the final culmination of this project. So starting off, we are going to begin with Brianna Dawkins. Oh, and here we have all 3 dancers, actually. We have Brianna, Olivia, and Carmella. Hi, ladies. And so we will begin with sharing Brianna's piece. Hi, Brianna.
Hi.
Before we share your piece, could you share a little bit about yourself and some background about your movement piece?
Of course. Hi, everybody. My name is Brianna Dawkins. I am finishing out my freshman year here at George Mason University. It's been definitely a challenging year, but we're making it through. The piece that you will see today is about my journey through dance as an African American woman. This dance not only shows my struggles, but it highlights me overcoming those struggles, and in the end, they become successes. So with that being said, the title of my piece is Becoming, and I hope you all enjoy it.
Buenas, me llamo Brianna, estudio danza aquí en la universidad, estoy terminando mi primer año de danza en la universidad, un año un poco difícil, pero aquí estamos. Y mi pieza muestra las luchas que he tenido, mi experiencia y mi viaje, mi vida como una mujer negra y una bailarina, pero también muestra cómo he logrado ganar en esas luchas. Y sin más, les presento mi pieza que se llama Becoming.
Beautiful. Congratulations, Brianna.
Thank you.
And so next up, we are going to bring Olivia in. Hi, Olivia.
Hello.
If you could share a little bit about yourself and your piece.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Olivia McCall. I'm a senior, graduating next week, actually. Excited. So this piece basically is about how, as Black women, we're not always able to show like our true self and, like show like different sides of us, like vulnerability, or being strong. So this piece kind of highlights each one of those feelings, and I named this piece Unveil. So I hope you enjoy.
Hola, me llamo Brianna. Yo me estoy graduando este año, es más, me voy a graduar la semana que viene de la universidad. Y mi pieza la trabajé más que todo en las diferentes partes que forman la mujer negra como yo, que no siempre podemos mostrar todo lo que somos. Somos vulnerables, somos fuertes y en mi pieza quiero mostrar todas estas partes que nos forman. Y el nombre de mi pieza es Unview.
Beautiful piece, Olivia.
Thank you.
Great. And so we are now going to transition over to Carmella. Hello, Carmella.
Hey, everybody.
Could you share a little bit about yourself and about the piece, please?
Of course. So my name is Carmella. I'm presently a junior at Mason, and this fall I'll be a senior. My piece, I'm super excited for you guys to see it. It basically follows the journey of what I've experienced as a Black woman, and it's represented through my lapa, which is an African fabric. In the first section, you'll see I'm protecting the lapa, and it represents how I feel personally about my weaknesses. The second section, it will show the frustration that I feel, but also the protection I feel from the Black women around me and us being able to unite and protest against different challenges we face. And the final section, I will be acknowledging my ancestors and acknowledging the earth. I look forward to you guys enjoying my piece. The title of it is Hear Me as I Am.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Carmela y yo estoy terminando mi tercer año de la universidad. Estaré empezando mi último año de universidad este otoño. En mi pieza estoy tratando de mostrar mi experiencia como mujer negra, el viaje que he tenido en mi vida, y utilizo una fábrica africana que se llama Lapa para también simbolizar la primera parte de la pieza. Estoy protegiendo la lapa. En la segunda parte es más como mostrar mi frustración, pero también cómo mis ancestros africanos me están apoyando o cómo utilizo su apoyo cuando me siento frustrada. Y la última parte, Carmella, sorry, I need the last part of your piece.
Okay, so the final section, I'm acknowledging my ancestors and the earth and using that strength to build me up and prepare me to overcome any obstacle. And the title of the piece is Hear Me as I Am.
Y en la última parte, con esa fuerza que me dieron los ancestros, cómo puedo luchar y poder vencer las luchas que he tenido en la vida. Y el nombre de mi pieza es Hear Me as I Am, escúchenme como soy.
When they see us, they fear us. They fear our value, our strength, our uniqueness. Their fear does not define who we are. It does not dim our light. Even when the earth faces the other way, the sun still shines, and so do I. It's easy to want to guard that light from the ones around you, afraid that they might appropriate it, discriminate against it, or deem it to be ungodly. But no, there is no denying a Black woman's divinity. It radiates in our aura, our stance, and in every step we take. It's easy to feel like you can't trust others because they teach you to fear who you are. But the truth is that the ones worth your trust are the ones who gather and stand with you when enough is enough. To my ancestors, I ask you, why do they call us so angry when we're the ones filled with charm? Why do they call us barbaric when we move with pure grace? To the ones who often have us misunderstood, I say, hear me as I am, not as you see me. Hear me as I am, not as you see me. To my ancestors, my lineage, the ones who came before me, I hear you. I feel you as a coat of armor. Your angelic whispers pass my ears with notes of power, light, and peace. I love you for passing down the wisdom of what it means to be a Black woman, for passing down the power to overcome all weakness, for passing down your beauty, your nourishment, your elegance, your poise, your knowledge, your empathy. Thank you for preparing us to win. For what is next? With my feet on your shoulders, I believe in myself. I believe in the strength that exists amongst the ones around me. And I believe in the strength of our universe. To my fellow Black women, we got this.
Great job, Carmella.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to bring everyone back in. And so before we open up our question and answer section, I had a few questions for all three of you, specifically about the process. And the first question is, how did each of you go about deciding what experience you wanted to share in your letter that would ultimately inspire your piece?
La primera pregunta va a ser para las tres bailarinas y es ¿cómo decidieron qué historia contarían en su carta para luego convertirla en esta pieza?
I can start.
I can go ahead and answer first. Oh,
Bree can go. No, Bree go.
Okay. For me, it wasn't hard to pick my experiences that I want to represent in my letter. I kind of had a feeling that our letters would be interpreted into movement. So for me, I picked the experiences I thought would be best represented by movement, if that makes sense.
Para mí no fue difícil escoger la experiencia. Yo tenía la idea de que nos iban a pedir eventualmente que tradujéramos la carta a movimiento y sabía exactamente qué experiencia deseaba compartir.
For me personally, when I was deciding what to put into my letter and what would inspire my movement, I asked myself questions that I wanted to ask society about why they view us in these ways, why do they perceive Black people the way that they do. And so through those questions that I wanted to ask society, I started to come up with my own answers for them. And I think that is what inspired what my final product became.
En mi caso, yo tenía preguntas que he querido hacerle a la sociedad. ¿Por qué nos ven como nos ven? ¿Por qué tienen una opinión sobre nosotros los negros, y fui respondiendo esas preguntas, y al irlas respondiendo con esas respuestas pude crear mi carta y la experiencia que deseaba compartir en mi pieza.
Well, for me, I pretty much chose a scenario, the first one that came to me. And from that, I just chose or highlighted certain words or phrases from the letter to reflect into my dancing.
Y para mí yo escogí una escena que quise compartir, y basada en esa escena escribí la carta, y luego escogí palabras específicas, palabras clave en la carta con la que pude crear mi pieza.
Great. And so my next question for all three of you is, what was the most difficult but satisfying part about creating a piece that you would also perform yourself? So going into solo work. How was that experience for you?
De nuevo para las tres, ¿qué momento fue el más difícil, pero también el más, del que le sacaron más satisfacción mientras estaban trabajando en la pieza?
Okay, for me, the hardest part about the entire process was coming to terms that it was a collaborative process instead of like just the choreographer telling me what to do. Because as dancers, that's what we're used to. I guess having Rafael kind of guide and mold my movement was the hardest part for me.
Para mí lo más difícil fue que era una colaboración. Como bailarina estoy acostumbrada a seguir las instrucciones del coreógrafo o coreógrafa, y en este caso Rafael estaba guiándome para crear mi pieza.
So what I would say to that question is that the most difficult part was the time frame. We had 3 rehearsals with Raphael, and the prompt was sort of open-ended. So I wanted to do so much with my solo in so little time. But I appreciated that because it made me get to the point and get to the purpose that I really wanted to share instead of getting distracted by other things. It kept me on track.
Para mí lo más difícil fue el tiempo. Solo tuve 3 ensayos con Rafael, entonces en un margen de tiempo muy mínimo debía ensayar, crear y finalizar la pieza. Pero esto también ayudó porque me mantenía enfocada, no podía distraerme y salir por tangentes y pensar en otras opciones.
For me, I would say the most difficult part would probably be actually like setting choreography, because when you're dancing by yourself, it's like easy to improv or just do what you want to do in the moment because it's just you. You don't have to worry about anyone else or doing different steps than someone else. So I would say that would be the most difficult part for me.
Para mí lo más difícil fue crear la coreografía, los pasos y mantener esa coreografía. Como bailarina, cuando estoy bailando yo sola, la tendencia es a improvisar. Entonces tenía que salirme de esa costumbre y empezar a pensar en los pasos y que estos son los pasos que ya van a quedar.
And so we have a question from the audience, and this question is for Rafael. Rafael, how was the process working with our Mason students and faculty over Zoom?
Rafael, ¿cómo fue la experiencia de trabajar con las estudiantes y la facultad de Mason University aquí por Zoom?
Sí, es una experiencia que uno no se lo espera. Es el tiempo actual que nos obliga a buscar estrategias para convertir al mundo más pequeño y para poder seguir compartiendo la humanidad que todos tenemos.
It's an experience that you don't anticipate, but it is the new normal. It's a way to make the world a little bit smaller so we can connect while we're far apart.
Ahora, lo más importante es que cada una de las bailarinas tiene mucha fortaleza y mucha claridad, no solo en su manera de ver y de reflexionar sobre el mundo, sino también sobre el cuerpo que es capaz de bailar para expresar sus sentimientos más profundos.
Also, working with these very strong dancers, it shows that not only do they have control of their experiences, the stories that they want to tell, but also their body and how they're able to tell these stories and their experiences through the movement of their body.
Yo creo que es muy importante que podamos seguir debilitando esas figuras jerárquicas de coreógrafo bailarín y que hablemos más de colaboraciones entre artistas que se complementan en sus conocimientos.
I think it's very important that we continue to weaken these the hierarchy in positions when it comes to choreographer and dancer, and think more of collaborations, and that we all work together and we help each other to create.
Great. Thank you, Rafael. And so another question from the audience. This is for our three dancers or choreographers. What was each of your favorite parts of your pieces, whether it was your favorite movement or any meanings that you were sharing?
La siguiente pregunta es para las tres bailarinas o tres coreógrafas, y es, ¿cuál fue tu parte favorita en tu pieza? También si hay un movimiento favorito o significado favorito en la pieza.
Okay, so for me, my favorite part of my dance was the last section. When Rafael read my letter, he said that he got 3 separate stages of life from my letter. Those being prenatal, me as a kid, and me where I am now as a dancer. And so my favorite part was in choreographing the last part. Rafael told me to imagine that there were traps that I was trying to like escape from. So I think that added a whole nother aspect to my movement, and I think it better translated as like struggles to the audience. So yeah.
Mi parte favorita fue la última parte de mi pieza. Cuando Rafael leyó mi carta, él me dijo que él vio 3 partes, 3 secciones de mi vida. La prenatal, la niñez y el presente ahora, yo como mujer adulta. Y la última parte en la pieza estaba mostrando el ahora, yo como mujer adulta. Y hay una sección específica donde Rafael sugirió que me imaginara que habían muchas trampas en el piso por todas partes, que yo tenía que tratar de evitar, no pararme en esas trampas. Y esas trampas eran las trampas que pueden haber en mi vida que he tenido que evadir, contra las que he tenido que luchar.
So the way I would answer that question, what was my favorite component of my piece? I would say the first section where I focused on protecting myself, protecting my Black identity, and protecting my purpose, and using my lapa to represent that. Raphael, during one of our rehearsals, he asked me about what I felt like was one of my weaknesses. And through dance, we often highlight the great feelings that we have or the hopes that we have. We don't often talk about our personal weaknesses or what we want to personally protect. So having that opportunity to show that and be honest in that and authentic through my movement and also through my spoken word, it was a very meaningful moment for me.
Para mí, mi parte favorita, mi sección favorita, puedo decir que es la primera parte de mi pieza, que es cuando estoy eh, protegiendo, protegiéndome a mí, protegiendo mi negritud, protegiendo también la lapa. Rafael en uno de los ensayos me preguntó cuál era una de mis debilidades y en la danza siento que siempre estamos tratando de demostrar o demostrar eh, nuestras, lo que nos hace fuertes, las cosas positivas, las cosas buenas y pocas veces estamos mostrando nuestras debilidades. Y me gustó tener la oportunidad de expresar esa parte de mí.
So one movement I would like to highlight was in the last section, and it was when I like put my hand on my knee and like arched back. And basically during rehearsal with Raphael, we kind of talked about how that was a very empowering movement. It kind of showed like the strength and just like me looking up to the future, like positivity, and like anything negative around me was gone. So that was one of my favorite parts of the piece.
Uno de mis movimientos favoritos en mi pieza es un movimiento que hago hacia el final de la pieza cuando pongo mis manos en mis rodillas y arqueo mi espalda, miro hacia arriba. En este momento estoy mirando hacia arriba, mirando hacia el futuro. Cuando en uno de los ensayos Rafael vio este movimiento, lo resaltó como que estaba viendo hacia mi futuro con positivismo y dejando atrás lo negativo, contra lo que he luchado.
And another question from our audience. Has this experience inspired any of you to go into choreography, I guess, more fully?
Otra pregunta del público. ¿Este proceso ha inspirado a alguna de ustedes a seguir con la coreografía?
Actually, yes. We already get a lot of chances to choreograph within the program that we're in now. So, yeah.
Sí, verdaderamente sí. Y el departamento aquí, el programa que tenemos aquí, nos da muchas oportunidades para hacer nuestras coreografías, trabajar en nuestras coreografías.
So my answer to this question, I'll say in two parts for Monica to translate. First, I'll say that, as Brianna said, we do choreograph already at school. And I believe this year, my experiences have shown me that this choreography is something I want to take more seriously. And while I've been experiencing creating my own pieces, I've noticed that I find it important to incorporate my Black voice into whatever I create so that I can fill spaces with my purpose and be able to represent my community in a great way and share that with audiences. So this experience has also inspired me in that way.
Como dijo Brianna, aquí en la universidad nos dan la oportunidad de trabajar en nuestras coreografías. Entonces, yo sí ya he trabajado como coreógrafa y lo seguiré haciendo. También he descubierto que a través de mi coreografía debo y quiero expresar mi voz negra, eh, mi voz para representar mi comunidad en, en otras comunidades.
I'd also like to add that being that this experience, we were able to have creative freedom while also collaborating with Rafael, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I feel like I was able to just break any limits that I might have felt before. And that took me far in working on spoken word, working on writing, and using language to express myself. And this experience has shown me that movement to spoken word is something that I feel thoroughly connected to. And being in a Zoom conversation, Zoom rehearsal with Monica and Rafael, and hearing them speak Spanish to each other, and us all being able to communicate, although there are language barriers, I've understood, I've appreciated, and I've embraced that language truly is rhythm. And just as we can appreciate music and we can appreciate sound, language is rhythm, whether it be through dance or through banging on a desk. And I'm glad that I was able to use spoken word to embrace that in my solo.
También descubrí trabajando en esta colaboración con Rafael que disfruto escribir. Escribí el poema que fue parte de mi pieza y disfruté mucho bailar siguiendo el ritmo de mi voz y del poema que había escrito. También los ensayos que tuvimos con Rafael y con Mónica mientras que ellos hablaban español, cómo igual nos pudimos entender todo el tiempo, porque el lenguaje, la palabra, tiene su propio ritmo y podemos movernos y bailar con ese ritmo. El sonido es ritmo. El sonido puede ser la palabra, puede ser tocando un tambor. Desde que haya ese ritmo, podemos bailar, podemos expresarnos.
So for me, regarding choreography, I do enjoy it. I would rather choreograph on someone else rather than myself. But kind of similar to what Carmella said, I do feel like it's important for me to also incorporate my own Black movement and voice into all the choreography that I do.
Para mí, sí, disfruto la coreografía, pero creo que la disfruto más cuando es coreografía que enseño para que otros cuerpos la presenten, no para hacerla yo. También, de acuerdo con lo que Carmela dijo, deseo poder expresar mi voz negra en mi coreografía.
Great. And another question from our audience. Is there anything that each of you learned about yourself outside of dance during this process?
Otra pregunta del público. ¿Sienten que aprendieron algo sobre ustedes mismas fuera de la danza durante este proceso?
To keep it short so that Monica can translate, I would say that I learned to appreciate my my blackness more, if that makes sense. I feel like in the dance world, people of color don't get enough appreciation. So I would say to appreciate who I am as a Black woman more.
Lo que aprendí en este proceso fue a apreciar mi negritud aún más. Siento que en la danza las personas de color no siempre son apreciadas, admiradas, y creo que en este proceso yo pude aprender a apreciarme a mí misma como mujer negra, mi valor como mujer negra.
Okay. Personally, there's something I added in my piece that says, it's easy to feel like you can't trust who you are because they teach you to fear who you are. And I feel like through this process, working with Rafael and Monica, and also Sitara, I feel like I've learned how to really trust myself and to trust the images that I have envisioned in my mind. Because sometimes I feel like when I'm in certain spaces, I have to limit myself or limit the things that I want to say or do. But being able to work with Rafael, he has reassured me plenty that my ideas are valid, they're possible, and they're worth sharing. So I really appreciate that.
Para mí, algo que digo en el poema, una frase, es que no siempre confiamos en nosotros mismos por cómo nos ven. Y con Rafael en este proceso aprendí a confiar en mí misma, a confiar en mi visión, en mis ideas, y estar orgullosa de estas ideas y de lo que deseo expresar. Trabajando con Rafael, con Mónica y con Setara, pude aprender a de verdad sentir esa confianza y no sentirme intimidada porque no siempre otros me vean como yo me veo.
So for me, one thing I learned like during our sessions or during the sessions with Rafael, it's very important as a Black woman to just show all sides of ourselves and not try and tone down how we are just to blend in when we're meant to stand out. So I feel like that's very important, and for us to always share our voice, especially to others who don't always get to see our perspective. But yeah.
Eh, para mí, lo que aprendí es que es importante no callarnos, que debemos expresarnos, saber cómo expresarnos sin miedo, sobre todo porque hay otros que no tienen la forma de expresarse y podemos representarlos también a ellos, que no debemos dejar que nos silencien y expresar y dejarle al mundo, a la sociedad saber quiénes somos, lo que pensamos, lo que sentimos.
Great. And so I want to open it up to all three of you. If there's anything additional you'd like to share with us or Rafael.
Yeah, I do. Oh, go ahead.
Ahora quiero abrir el micrófono para si alguien más desea compartir algo, pueden ser las bailarinas o Rafael.
Okay, to Raphael, I just want to say thank you for being so welcoming. Working with a choreographer over Zoom, especially one that's not based in the United States, was a little nerve-wracking at first. So I just want to say thank you for making the space so welcoming and friendly to create in.
A Rafael deseo decirle gracias por crear un espacio y un ambiente de bienvenida que se sentía muy amistoso, porque la verdad es que pensar que iba a trabajar con un coreógrafo a través de Zoom, que está en otro país, era algo que me estaba llenando de nervios, pero Rafael eh, logró hacerme sentir muy bienvenida y muy cómoda.
Okay, what I would like to say, I'll say it again in two parts for Monica. The first thing I would like to say is that I really want to thank Raphael for this entire experience. Since day one, I felt very inspired by how productive we were able to work through the circumstances of Zoom and having to translate. And I appreciate all the wisdom that you've shared with me and, of course, with the other dancers here, and all the knowledge that you've placed upon us, and also how humble you are, and how experienced and how great of a dancer and human being that you are and as you exist. I think being able to work with you has been an honor, and I really appreciate it, and I'll never forget this experience.
A Rafael, muchas gracias por esta experiencia. Eh, Me sentí muy inspirada en toda esta experiencia, en los ensayos, en la colaboración que hubo entre los dos, con las traducciones. Fue una experiencia increíble. Cada ensayo, todo el proceso, me siento muy agradecida por esta experiencia.
And I would also like to add, for anyone that's watching, always remember that your Black voice is important and to speak loudly. And even if you have to scream at the top of your lungs, everything that you have to say is of value. Validate that for yourself before you ask for validation for that from anyone else, because it starts within you and it will radiate into the world. Your love, your joy, and your Black being. So continue to embrace it and never let anyone silence you. And allow this project to be a way to initiate that. You know, leave here feeling inspired and speak truth to yourself every single day.
Y para quienes están viendo esta función hoy, espero se sientan inspirados. Espero, si sacan algo de esta noche, es que tienen una voz y, y esa voz es para que la utilicen. Si tienen que gritar en lo más alto, háganlo. Hagan lo que tengan que hacer para poder expresarse. No dejen que nadie los calle. No dejen que alguien les haga sentir duda. Siempre empiecen con ustedes mismos. Pregúntense a ustedes mismos cómo se sienten y de ahí saber cómo expresarse, no tener que pedir permiso a nadie más, solo a ustedes mismos.
I would also like to say thank you, Raphael, for working with me. I truly enjoyed this experience. It was very different and unique, being over Zoom in different countries, and also having Monica as a translator. But I just want to thank you for all you've shared with me. I'll definitely remember it for the future. And also thank you, Sitar, for working with me as well.
Gracias, Rafael, por trabajar conmigo. Fue una experiencia increíble y también, aunque no sabía cómo iba a ser a través de Zoom, aprendí mucho con los ensayos, a través de las traducciones. También gracias, Setara, por trabajar conmigo.
Great. And so before we close out, Rafael, is there anything you'd like to say or share with us?
Antes de
Sí,
finalizar, Rafael, ¿deseas compartir algo?
Sí, muchas cosas. Yo creo que nos faltaría tiempo para poder hablar de lo mucho que este proceso nos ha aportado a todos y a todas.
Uh, a lot of things. I don't think we have time for everything I would like to share. But definitely, this process adds so much and gives so much to those of us who participate, who are part of it.
En Sankofa nosotros decimos que bailamos más que para ser vistos, para ser escuchados. Y este proyecto, de una manera muy honesta, logra ese significado.
In Sankofa, we say we dance more than to be seen, to be heard. And this project does exactly that.
Poder trabajar con tres mujeres tan jóvenes que tienen tan claro el sentido de vida y que lo pueden explicar a través de la danza, lo único que hace para mí es bendecir mi trabajo.
Having the chance to work with these three women who are strong and know exactly how to express themselves simply makes me feel blessed.
Siempre me impresiona mucho cómo las mujeres tienen algo que nosotros tenemos que aprender y es que la delicadeza no debilita la fortaleza.
I'm always amazed by women who always teach us one thing, that being delicate is not a sign of weakness, but of strength.
Y eso a mí me fortalece mucho como hombre, como ser humano y como artista.
And knowing that, learning that, strengthens me as a human being, as a man, as a dancer.
Entonces, de verdad estoy muy agradecido, Mónica, contigo siempre, porque me acompañas en todos estos espacios. Y con Cetar, sí me gustaría preguntarle ella cómo vivió este proceso, porque fue una parte fundamental para que hoy estemos viendo pues todo lo fantástico que las chicas pueden mostrarle y hablarle al mundo.
So I'm extremely grateful to have been part of this process. And I actually want to say thank you to Satara for being also a huge part of this. And I want to ask, what was your experience like?
I'm the one that's supposed to be asking the questions. I think for me, this was a very inspiring process to be in the room with you, Rafael, and Monica, and kind of shadow and see how you were able to create a safe space for all three of our students and allow them to develop their voice, and then going on to support the three of them in bringing their dance to life and recording their pieces, and then watching the final cut. It's just been an incredibly inspiring process to be a part of. So thank you.
Para mí ha sido una experiencia llena de inspiración. Ver cómo trabajas, Rafael, ver cómo creaste un espacio donde las bailarinas se sentían completamente cómodas y libres para expresarse. Luego pasar el proceso de filmación, edición y al final ver el producto final realmente es completamente inspirador.
Muchas gracias, Citara. Yo lo último que quiero decir es que no veo la hora de que ustedes tres se puedan encontrar con las mujeres de mi compañía que tienen las mismas luchas aquí en Colombia. Es un mismo sentir y un mismo pulso de resistencia el que tienen las mujeres afrodescendientes alrededor del mundo.
The last thing I want to say is I can't wait for the three of you to meet with the female dancers of my company and see how much you share and you have in common as Black women, though different cultures and different countries, that African ancestry, descent gives you a pulse that you share.
Well, thank you. Congratulations, Brianna, Olivia, and Carmella. Thank you, Rafael and Monica, for the generosity of your time in bringing this project to Mason, as well as Jimena, who helped to coordinate on the back end. I'll pause right there, and then I'll go to the second set, Monica.
Gracias a Brianna, Olivia, Carmela, a Rafael, a Mónica, también a Jimena, quien nos ayudó con la programación y los horarios.
And thank you as well to Haley Smizer and Reagan Lair with the Center for the Arts, who helped to coordinate this project, as well as Mason School of Dance. This concludes our Black Voices screening. Thank you to everyone joining us via Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and a great weekend.